that's not what it is.
Not at all.
Right? You're letting it go.
Like, you accept that happened to you.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not something you're proud of, but you are letting it go so that you can move forward.
Yeah.
Because every day that you hold on to that bitterness or that unforgiveness, you're only attacking your own body, your own spirit, your own soul, like in a negative way. Like, you're not allowing yourself to just step forward and look for new opportunities because you're staying in that same cycle.
Hey everybody, I'm Eric Oberembt, and you're listening to Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. We talk about real shit, what's on our minds, and don't give a fuck if it makes you feel a little uncomfortable. So sit back, strap in, and get ready for some real shit. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. I'm your host, Eric Oberembt. We are here at Win the Storm 2024. I don't even know what number it is, but here's what's exciting. We are doing a podcast today with somebody that we already filmed the podcast with, but because I'm a fucking idiot, I didn't hit record on the sound. So she graciously decided to sit down with me again in her beautiful garb. She's all dressed up today. It's very exciting. And we are going to refilm this episode, and it's going to be even more amazing than the first one was. So I want to introduce my guest today, Dee Taggart. Do you go Dee Taggart now?
Dee Taggart.
Dee Taggart. Love that. Because what was your other?
It's Evans. Before I got married, it was Evans. And that was my initials. That's why they call me Dee, because I'm Deanna Elaine Evans. And so.
Oh, is that why?
That's where I got my nickname Dee.
Okay.
Because my initials are literally D-E-E.
Oh, interesting. That I didn't know. I just thought it was just because it was D. You know, like.
But now it's Det.
Oh, yeah. You don't want
in
any
a
of
good
that.
way.
In a good way. Yeah, good dad. Good. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right. Glad to be here.
I love that.
This is exciting. Like, this is very interesting. We were just talking about this because, like, this show is actually where I was introduced to shows, right?
Oh, at the Win the Storm.
I went to my first one was the shit show that was Miami back in 2016. And I didn't realize at the time, but it was like at an old whorehouse under a fucking bridge or something.
That's what I've heard. Like, it's got a great reputation.
It was crazy. Like, you couldn't leave the area because, like, you'd get raped or pillaged or something like under a bridge. Like, it was really bad.
Oh my gosh.
Right. But so, and it grew from there and whatever. And like, but I've made so many amazing relationships coming to this event specifically. And I actually boycotted it the last 2 years. And I remember when Sam got fucked over. That one year.
We all heard that story.
Oh my God,
He basically ran his own thing.
That made me so happy when that happened. That was so fantastic. But you're here, and that's what's important now. Fuck Sam right now. We don't need to talk about Sam. I'll talk to Sam later. You're awesome.
Thank you.
By the way, like, you're awesome. Thank you for doing this again because, like, we had such a good conversation.
It was fire.
At D2D Con.
Fire.
And I hope that we can recreate some of it, right? But there were so many good nuggets in there that people could take out of that conversation. So,
still in us. We're still going to put it out there.
Let's bring it out. You are dressed up very nice today, by the way.
Oh,
was there a reason behind that?
No, I just only brought, like 3 different outfits, and we're going to do dinner tonight. And I was like, I just want to be ready for the day. I'm the kind of person that's like, once a day, I have 15 minutes to get ready, and that's it for the whole day. Like, I don't go back. Like, it's a one and done. Like, I literally get ready before the gym, and then I'll be ready for the day.
I'm having a panic attack right now that I didn't hit record. Nope, I did. Okay. All right. Yeah. You just have that moment. Yeah. Like, I was literally, because I was like, I know that's working, but I didn't know if those were. So yeah, you look beautiful today.
Thank you.
You look beautiful every day, but you look beautiful today. So thank you for dressing up for me. Sure. We're just going to pretend that you did it because you knew you were going to be on the show. You knew you were going to be on the show, and you wanted to look your best.
100%.
Thank you. Hey, I know what I want to ask you about.
Okay.
Talk to me about your retreat that you just did.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I would love to talk to you about that.
Yeah, please.
So I just hosted a retreat called Her Expansion. And it's basically a place for women to come and expand their knowledge, their confidence, their connections, their consciousness, and their communities. And I know, like, community probably has, like, a bad rap, but, like, we're all part of a community. We all want to feel like we are accepted in some way with like-minded people. And it's creating that space for women that usually don't have that outside of just their home life. And it was absolutely phenomenal.
Where do these women come from?
All over, but mostly word of mouth. I thought, like, I was like, interesting.
So they weren't like wives of people that were already in.
They were.
Okay, some were.
Yeah, some of them were, and they invited some friends, and there was connections that way. And my goal with this, we have a mastermind, and the women are a part of that and supporting their husbands. But my goal with this is to expand outside of a mastermind and just really like bring knowledge and education to women of all kinds. And I like to think of my brand that I'm launching as, you guys have probably heard of TED Talks or TEDx,
yep.
which is like a platform for people of all different types to come and to speak and to showcase their knowledge. I'm making that for women. Like, women don't usually typically have a strong voice, and I want to create that, a place where they can showcase their gifts, their talents, and speak authentically about their experiences. And I want to cultivate a space where it's just up-leveling, like we're raising the vibration of humanity.
I love that.
So that's exactly what we did. It was awesome. That was our first one, and we're doing a little pop-up tomorrow and a pop-up next week, and we're just kind of spreading throughout the places to start to cultivate this amazing experience. It's about the women, like it's about giving them a platform.
What kind of feedback did you get?
Incredible feedback. That's always the best, is like when you leave the event and then everybody starts sending you those amazing messages of how it transformed, and they're like, it transformed my life in XYZ. And I'm like, you transformed your life because you chose to show up.
Right.
You chose to invest in yourself, and you chose to come and to put yourself in a vulnerable and uncomfortable position, which allowed you to grow.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, thank yourself.
So what's your intention with that moving forward, growing?
My intention is really to just, it's like planting a seed that's unseen. Like, it plants a seed within their soul's purpose, and they don't know it, but over the next year, they're going to have this tree sprout up of like all these beautiful opportunities that they didn't know, and all these connections, and cultivate new experiences that help them step outside of their just normal track patterns and their normal comfort levels. And so it's really to just plant that seed and to really like know that there are options out there for you to be able to connect with other people and to grow and to expand your knowledge and to just understand that we are students of this earth. Like, it's a continual journey.
What's cool about it, here's my assumption, totally guessing, right? But I know, like, my wife, for instance, doesn't go to anything because she doesn't really like spending that much time with other women. Right? And because she's like, it just ends up being catty and it's fucking this and it's that. My assumption is you created a space that didn't happen. But did you have to be very intentional about that? Very, very intentional.
Like, I first mentioned right when I got there just what the intention was and what the mission statement is and why we're doing what we do. And by cultivating that space, I do think it takes unique women to understand that this is a space where women were just emotional beings, and we just want to talk about feelings, and we often take on this victim mentality or this place of gossip. And I am very intentional that is not what we're here to do, because that's what lowers our vibration. And we don't want to feel those feelings anymore, right? Like, so we're here to improve and to expand and to grow. And so just cultivating that space. And then when you start to notice it, just calling it out, because like, those are the things that are going to make you feel better.
Did you have to?
I actually didn't.
Okay, good.
I set the intention right from the beginning, and the entire time, it was honestly the most beautiful experience that I could have ever imagined. And that's hard to do in a women's space. And I think a lot of people have tried, but it ends up getting pulled down. And I'm like so determined to just cultivate this space of encouragement, of growth, of just like expanding ourselves, expanding our life and the lives we lead, because everybody leads somebody.
Yeah.
First person is yourself. But especially mothers, we lead little humans of society. Like, or even...
And that's a big fucking responsibility.
Huge. Like, in the world we're growing up in, I feel like operates on a lower frequency right now because there's so much adversity. And so I'm on a mission to change that. I'm on a mission to really get people to recognize love, joy, acceptance, forgiveness, based off of my own story. I just didn't have that when I was going through the stuff that I was going through. And I'm like, I wish I had that. I want to create that.
I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
That's really, really cool.
Thank you.
What was our word when we did this originally? We had a word that we were really digging in on. Do you remember that?
I think it was forgiveness. I want to say it was forgiveness.
Was it? Maybe.
I think so.
Maybe. Okay, let's talk about that then.
Yeah. Forgiveness, like for ourselves and others, I think is such a high vibrational state. Like, I notice when people hold on to bitterness.
And when you forgive others, you're doing it for yourself.
For yourself. Like,
right.
I've noticed, I've had examples of people who are just bitter in their life, and they take that with them, and they carry this emotional weight for all of their life. And I'm like, I just don't ever want to have or feel like I operate from that place, because when you choose not to forgive, which is a choice,
Yep.
like you are literally choosing it. And it's like, you don't know what they did. I'm like, yeah, but the most beautiful thing is when you choose to forgive, you let go of this weight that's been holding you down.
Right.
Like, I have experienced that myself, and I'm so passionate about that because I know the difference in my frequency,
Yeah.
like my emotional state, just because I've chosen to let go of and accept things that have happened.
And I think that's a better way to think of it. It's letting go.
Yeah, letting
Right?
go.
Because I think that people put a negative connotation to forgiveness in the fact that it sounds like, and this is how I used to see it as well, is that it sounds like you're saying that whatever they did was okay.
Yeah, and it's,
Right?
that's how they view it.
Yeah,
It's
but
not-
like that's not what it is.
Not at all.
Right? You're letting it go.
Like you accept that happened to you.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not something you're proud of, but you are letting it go so that you can move forward.
Yeah.
Because every day that you hold on to that bitterness or that unforgiveness, you're only attacking your own body, your own spirit, your own soul, like in a negative way. Like you're not allowing yourself to just step forward and look for new opportunities because you're staying in that same cycle.
Right. Because you had to do that in the past with what?
Yeah.
With your ex, right?
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
because that was hard because he had a recovery or a drug addiction, right?
Yeah.
And it did, not to dig too much into people I don't know, but like, is he getting better?
Yeah, I think he's getting better. I mean, this is a third time around, and I love the guy. Like, he is the biggest teddy bear, and I think, honestly, the thing that he struggled the most with is just loving himself. And I think that led to just this feeling of not enough or these feelings of insecurity and inadequacy because he couldn't find it within him to love himself. I think now that he's been through all that he's been through, he has come a long way too. And he's been through a lot of different programs and things that are helping him.
Yeah.
And it's a powerful thing to see. Like I have never been in a place where I have desired so much for someone else to be happy and to find love for themselves so that they can love others in the way that they truly need to.
That's when you know you've reached a different part of life for yourself, right? When you can genuinely be happy for someone else and be rooting for them regardless of what they have done to you or, you know what I mean? Like how they've impacted you in the past. Like that's a true sign of like, what do you want to call it? Forward movement. You know what I mean? Like you probably have a better word for
It's
it, but
so freeing.
Freeing.
I think of it
Freeing.
as freedom.
Yes,
Like,
100%.
It's freeing.
Because that's the shit that just holds you back.
Yeah.
Because you're living in that anger almost,
You're
right?
bonded to these chains
Yeah.
of like pain and grief and like all the just low frequency stuff
Yeah.
that you don't want to be chained to.
No.
And so the minute you break those chains and you're like, I actually can just run free because that can't hurt me.
Right.
Because I'm choosing not to let it hurt me. Then you really like set yourself free.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that that goes away. Like we have the gift of opposition. We have the gift of discernment. Like it is so beautiful to be able to experience sadness and grief because then we now know what joy and acceptance and forgiveness feels like. There's such an opposition there, and if you didn't experience those hard feelings, then you wouldn't know what it felt like when you truly felt free, when
Yeah.
you truly felt joyful.
100%. I mean, that's how I feel. It's hard to explain sometimes, like when I go to meetings, right? I go AA meetings, and people introduce themselves as a grateful alcoholic, right? And they're like, what the fuck are you grateful for, right? And part of it is like, you know, do I have regrets? Of course, right? Like, but only the regrets in the fact of like people that I had harmed, right, in my past that like, obviously I don't want to harm my family and, you know, things like that. But if I wouldn't have experienced those things, right, I wouldn't be that human that I am today that wants to be able to give back and help. And I can't help people that are going through that unless I've been through
Unless
that.
you know it.
Yeah, and like you just can't do it. You can't be a sales trainer if you don't know how to fucking sell.
100%.
Right? I can't help drunks unless I am one
Right.
or was one, however you want to frame that, right? And there's something really important, I think, for people watching and listening, that you don't have to be, I don't want to say ashamed, but maybe it is ashamed, right, of whatever it was that you went through, because it can there's another guy that says this all the time, so I'm not going to act like I stole it, but like that can be your superpower, right? That can be your superpower, is all the shit that you went through.
I love that.
So that you can use it later to be able to help those people that don't know that they have that power,
and
right?
It's just a choice. Like, I know I say it's just a choice, but in every moment we have a decision.
I think by putting just behind it makes it seem insignificant.
Yeah.
Right? Or easy.
Easy, yeah.
Right? Because it's not easy to make that choice sometimes, right? But you're correct. At the end of the day, though, it's all choices.
It's choices.
You make a choice to be mad.
Yep.
You make a choice to be sad, right? Like the initial reaction is what it is. Like you can't control that maybe, right? But you can control what you do next.
100%. Exactly. Like your decisions, like in your indecision is a decision.
Right.
If you want to sit there and choose to feel sorry for yourself a long time, that's a decision you're making, versus I have the ability to get help.
Yep.
I can ask for better things. I can seek out better things. There are people who have been through what I've been through that can help guide and direct me.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally that decision to just shift and to be able to know that there is much greater things in store for you. Much, much greater. And you're never alone.
What are you most passionate about today that you're doing?
Most passionate about today is operating from a high energy, a positive light, really impacting other people's lives in a positive direction.
And how do you do that?
Just how I show up, like practicing it myself on a daily basis and pouring that out into other people.
Because you're also into a bunch of hippy dippy shit as well, right? And I love it, right? Like I never thought that I would.
Yeah.
And honestly, like I never thought I would until I met fucking Sam. And he made me do a bunch of great, crazy shit, right? And then I ended up meeting my coach, who I have now, that's made me do all kinds of goofy shit as well. I'm tough alpha roofer fucking guy,
story.
right? Like, but like all that stuff, that we all, people that are like me, right, shit on, generally it's because we are living in fear of it. And then what I realized later was I was probably in a little bit of fear of that it might actually work.
Yeah.
And then every belief system that I had before that was fucking wrong.
I love that. I love that you said that, because sometimes there's a quote that Nelson Mandela read, and it was like...
Read or said?
Or said.
Okay.
He said, but I think someone else wrote it, but it's quoted by him. And it said, it's not that we have the fear that we are inadequate. It's that we have the fear that we are powerful beyond measure. And it's just like what you said. It's the fear of, what if things got better? Then I'm not comfortable in what I'm used to. I'm not in my familiar feelings, my familiar emotions, my familiar understanding. Like, so it's uncomfortable. But I challenge that all the time. I'm like, stay curious. Like, just be open-minded, because you never know what, like, just opening your heart and your mind to even some weird thing can teach you. And that's what we're here for.
It's usually some weird thing that can teach you.
Yes, it is.
Right?
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah, you never learn anything by doing easy shit.
No, never.
Ever. Right? And I'll talk to people about, everything to me is a sports analogy. Fucking everything, right? But everything's a sports analogy, but it's like, I go back to playing football or playing baseball or whatever it is, and it was like, everything that we did in practice, right? Or any hard thing that happened during a game or whatever that we learned from, that was how we got better.
Yep.
Every single time was facing that really hard thing on, completing it, even if we didn't do it well, right? And learning from that. But I never went through anything going, whew, that was fucking easy, right? And then like, I'm so much better because of that, right? And I think that's the thing that I've learned over the years of like digging into personal development and growth and doing uncomfortable shit that I don't really want to do, and meditating and breathing shit. It's like breathing, motherfucker, we all breathe, right? But then you actually learn how to breathe. And it's like, wow, how did my life just change because of that? Like, that's really weird.
It's so wild. Like,
so wild.
Breath is flow. And I've like had this analogy for the longest time. If you ever look at a gross stagnant pond that has no river flowing through it, it is so gross. Like, you're like, that is harboring so much stagnant activity, and it's just like withering away, and there's no way you'd want to jump into that. And since our bodies are made up of 75% water, like, breath is what allows flow. Like genuinely, breath in our blood, like the heart that pumps our blood, is what flows things through our body. And so breath will wake up those uncomfortable, stagnant spots and start to push things through. And I do holotropic breathwork sessions that people have had
Holotropic.
profound experiences with.
What's that
It's
mean?
a certain type of breathing.
Okay.
So it's a quick breathing with some breath holds. So it's a 3-part breathing all done through your mouth. And you breathe for like 30 minutes, and then you go into a couple holds, and then you go into a deep meditative space where it opens up your body to move things that you didn't even know were stored trapped in there.
I've done that.
And it's powerful.
Very.
And it's because it allows for flow.
Especially when it's led correctly.
Yes.
Because I've done it where it wasn't, and I was like, well, that wasn't as good. And then my guy did it, and I'm like, it was the same thing, but I'm like, mind-blowing.
There's some people that do have the gift of holding the space properly.
They really do. Like, it's crazy.
That's my gift.
Is it?
I know now, like more than ever, that is my gift.
And keeping people on rhythm.
Yes.
Right? And on pattern, right? Because the time that I did it, I was like, this is shit. Because I couldn't focus, because it was like, it was like he was watching a game, and then he'd come back.
And then check in.
And I was like, fuck you go. Like, what are we doing here? Like, you pretend, like, are you part of this or not? But then I did it a different time, multiple times, but like with the guy, like my coach that's like amazing at that. And it can like, is that the one where like you'll end up fucking clutching up?
Yeah. So you get tetany, all of the oxygen.
Tetany?
Okay. T-Rex hands.
Yeah. I didn't know the term.
Fists where you're like, I can't freaking move. I feel like I'm glued to the ground. Totally normal. It just means
does not seem normal.
All of your oxygen is coming to the center of your body, so your extremities usually have less
oxygen.
Oh,
is that why? Nobody ever explained it to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why. Yeah, it's kind of a weird feeling, but it's totally normal, and it goes back to normal after you're done, but like basically bringing everything to center, and that's allowing you to move through your chakras, your meridian lines, all the things, and that's the woo-woo stuff.
Yeah.
But it's just.
When did you get into all the woo-woo shit?
I've always been into it.
You have?
Okay. And that's where I've just had to go against the grain, because I've gotten so much shit for it. Like, people are just like, you do what? And like, that's a bunch of bullshit.
But I assume you don't anymore, because that's just your circle,
no.
right? Like, that's just your people.
Now I'm just like, even if it's not my people, I'm like, if you want to deny that energy is not a thing, good luck. Right. Like, we all know that everything is a transfer of energy. You all have that gut feeling. You all have that when you meet with someone, you either are like, I will never talk to them again, or I would love to get to know them more based on the energetic transfer that they give you. And you can't deny it.
That is such a real thing, isn't it? Like, you literally can just walk up to somebody and be like, ooh, you're rapey. Yep. Like, you're kind of just creepy and don't want to be around you.
You can feel it and sense it.
It's a real, like, Yeah.
And it's wild.
There's so much to that I just wanted to unpack, but like, it's such a real thing. And I think the lesson in that is don't ignore it.
Yeah, don't ignore it. Right? And I think, like, I'm hard of hearing. I wear hearing aids in both ears. I have central hearing loss. And so part of me is I've been more observant. I've had to check in and be more like attentive to things. And since I can't like usually hear everything, I zone in really hard, which then I pick up on energies. And so I think I've always known that, and now I'm just really exploring my gift with it. Yeah. And it's changed me and so many lives of others around me in a positive direction.
One of the things that I was taught was that I worked on was cultivating, like, remembering an experience of the creepy or like a bad situation that I had with somebody or whatever, and then finding where I feel it in my body, and then recreating the amazing experience, seeing where I feel that in my body. Yep. So then when I meet somebody new, it's like, oh, where is it? Yeah. Right? And like, it's like automatic. It's like, oh no, this is a good person. Yeah. Or like, they have good intentions, or they have good energy, or they have good whatever. Or nope.
No way.
Right? And then it's not just your gut feeling anymore. And that feeling could be in your gut, right? Like, literally in your stomach. Yeah. That could be the negative, right? And the positive could be in your chest or in your arm or in your whatever. Yeah. I thought that was just really amazing, because he was like, where are you feeling it? I'm like, where the fuck do you mean, where am I feeling it? And he's like, think about it. Where are you feeling it? What color are you seeing? I'm like, what color am I seeing? But like, that's some real shit.
It's a real thing.
Isn't that like, weird?
So wild. It's
because mine's blue. By the way,
yeah,
blue is good.
Feel bluey. Yeah.
Blue is good. Blue is
protection.
Yep.
Blue is
safe.
Like flowy. Blue is safe.
Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
Love that.
Yep.
No, like what you said too, like our brain correlates every positive experience with an emotion, and then that equals a new outcome. Or if you have a negative experience with an emotion, that equals that belief or outcome. And so whatever like beliefs you have, like you said, you have to go back and like put the experience with the emotion to get the outcome. And if it's a negative experience with a negative emotion to a negative outcome, and then you're familiarizing yourself with that and using that, then you're going to stay stuck there, right? And you're going to always believe that, and you're going to shut down a lot of opportunities. And so you have to find a new positive, you have to listen to that feeling, but you have to find a new positive experience, which you're having with that person, and then create an emotion that goes with that to create a new belief. That's how our beliefs are formed. And so if you have like limiting beliefs, go back to where you felt it, what was the experience, and what was the emotion you felt with it, and then what would you rather believe, or what would you rather had in that experience. And that's how you kind of break through and heal through a lot of the limiting beliefs that hold you back.
That's a big one, limiting beliefs. Yeah. That's something that people should talk about more.
100%.
Because I think that's something that so many people get trapped into that. Like, well, that's just who I am.
Their identity.
That's just what I do. It's like, well, no, that's what you fucking choose. You just make a choice not to break out of that cycle or whatever, right? And I think that I see more and more of that, especially like as you bring on employees, let's say, right?
100%.
And you're trying to grow them and raise them up. And I'm like, hey, let's read this book. I'm not really a reader.
That's a belief.
Yeah.
Like, who told you?
Who told you you're gonna like? Can you fucking read?
Yeah.
Like, then you can be a reader, right? I mean, you can ask Sam.
Yeah.
That was the big joke when we all met. Me and Skip, you know Skip, right?
I love Skip.
We were the joke because we're like, yeah, we don't read. Like, we don't read.
We're not
like
into
that was the joke. And then all of a sudden I started reading, right? And then I got all kinds of shit because I just I was reading all the time. Then I wrote 2 books, and then Sam's giving me shit. He's like, so now you wrote a book, but you're not a fucking reader. But it's crazy the self-limiting belief that you can have. But if you literally change that thought, that belief, how you can become the thing that you didn't think. Yeah, something else.
100%.
Like, that's insane to me.
It's wild.
It was insane to me.
Yeah.
Right?
It just seemed like so far out.
Yeah, but like now it all makes sense.
Yeah.
Now it all makes sense.
I had like a breakthrough where I used to tell myself I was not smart enough. So then this is where it comes through.
Oh.
I had to go back to the time, when did I first believe that I was not smart enough? And it was like in 7th grade in a math class when I failed a math test, and the teacher was like, you just don't get it, you're not going to get it. So in that moment, I decided about myself, I'm not smart and I cannot get it.
I would go find that fucking teacher.
Isn't that wild? I know, but it was that moment.
And that stayed with you for so long.
Yeah, so then I went back there and I visualized that I was there, and I was like, what would I have rather have heard? Because I wanted to create a positive experience around this limiting belief. And then the teacher, I pictured the teacher coming and saying, you've got this. And then I pictured God putting his hand on my shoulder and saying, you have all the knowledge that you need to succeed. And then it came out of that with like a new affirmed belief, because I put myself right back in that same situation to create a new belief. And I'm like, my new belief is I am more than smart enough. I retain all and recall all the information I receive. And so now that's my belief. So when I hear I'm not smart enough, I go, what do you mean? I retain and recall all the information I receive.
Yeah.
Like, every time I think about that belief,
I love that.
It just created a new belief, a new way to look at it. Instead of being like, oh, I just don't get it. It's like, no, I'm retaining, I'm learning, I'm recalling all the information I'm picking up on.
That's awesome.
It's just like a different way to look at it.
If you didn't catch that, like, rewind and fucking listen to it again, right? Because it clicked. Like, I kind of followed you in the beginning, and then just saying it the way that you said it right there just made 100% sense, right?
Yeah.
Something I just thought of, and if I'm wrong, you can yell at me. Tell me if I'm incorrect in this statement, because I want to talk about health and wellness a little bit, because I think that's something that you're passionate about, right?
Goodness.
But weren't you a bigger gal?
Yes.
At one time? Okay. I wanted to make sure, like, if I was wrong, I'd be like, no, I wasn't, motherfucker.
Call it out.
But like, you were a bigger gal.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yep. I've been on the overweight side. Know what that feels like.
Is that what were you not, and then you were because of some trauma, and then got your shit together, or were you just kind of, you know what I mean? Like, what was that cycle?
Kind of always yo-yo. Like, I didn't grow up with the health and fitness.
Were you an athlete? No,
Like,
okay.
I didn't do any sports. Like,
Okay.
I mean, I tried out for sports, which also created limiting beliefs because I never made the team.
Because you never made the team.
And I was like, man, I suck. Right?
Yeah,
like,
sure.
I remember basketball, I didn't make the team, and some short girl did, and I was like, wow, I really just must be not good enough. Like, made that decision at that time. But no, I didn't have like a super health and fitnessy background, and so I didn't have much understanding about health. But then I really let it go once I had kids.
Yeah.
And then after that, I took on a bunch of kids, and I just didn't take care of myself. And it.
How big did you get?
I was up to 204 at my heaviest.
And how tall are you?
And I'm 5'7", and now I weigh 128 pounds.
Healthy.
And so I've lost about 70 to 80 pounds.
I've
been
how
able
long
to
ago?
keep it off and identify with this new image long term. Like, I will always be committed to it.
That's something big that I've never really thought of it that way, because I did the same thing, right? Like, I was 310.
Yeah, you have
right?
a great
and
story.
Got down to like 215, whatever it was, lost almost 100 pounds. But I don't think that I never understood the identifying with that, right?
Yeah.
But like, I've been the way that I am now for a significant amount of time, right? Like, you don't even know Fat Eric, right? There's only a few people that still are around in my life that even remember Fat Eric. Right. We did a whole episode with a gal that like still remembers Fat Eric. We just haven't.
That is awesome. I need to go listen to that.
Well, we haven't aired it yet because when we filmed it, she was going through a divorce, and like there was some shit in there like we don't want it out.
Yeah.
You're right. So it's like in the archives, and we're going to drop it hopefully next season.
I need to hear that.
Yeah, but I never thought about the fact that like I 100% now only identify with this Eric, and like I don't even acknowledge Fat
like
Eric.
A past lifetime.
Yeah, it feels like a past life because it's like this is who I am now. I work out every day. I eat correctly. Like, I just ate some garbage ass fucking chicken sandwich that I had to like put into my phone because I track everything that I'll eat. And I'm like ashamed of myself because I was just that hungry and I was like, I don't have time to like go out and like find a decent meal or whatever. But like, that's who I am now.
Yeah.
Where before it would be like, where's the Doritos? Where just whatever, just shovel in whatever so I can have some fuel.
Right.
Right. When did that transformation happen for you?
I had a breaking point. Like, I was driving down this bumpy road somewhere, and I felt like I knew it was my soul feeling the weight of my body.
Yeah.
Like, my spirit was telling me this is like so uncomfortable. And I was driving down this road, I could feel every bump, like, and it just, everything was moving. Like
skin was moving.
Just like,
and
like someone shaking a Jello thing, and it was like my body. And I was just like, oh.
That's
like,
gross.
I can't, like, I was so uncomfortable in my own skin.
Yeah.
And I knew it was so much deeper than that, but I was like, I've got to do something. And that was the decision. I made a choice in that moment. I'm going to do something. And so I was like, I don't know what, but I got to get going. So I went to, and I had I had a million excuses, like a million. And my excuse of, I had 4 kids. I didn't have time to work out.
Did you have 4 kids?
Yeah. So I had 1 biologically.
Okay.
And I took on my brother and his girlfriend.
Got it.
3.
Okay.
And so I had 4 for 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
And so I took them all. I stopped making excuses, and I was like, the gym has a daycare. I'm taking them all to daycare. And then I had the fear of, what if they get sick? And what if they're not well cared? And I'm like, I'm at the gym with them. I need to just do it. So I took them to the gym daycare. But once I got in there, I was like, I don't fit in here. This is not a place. I don't even want to be seen here. Like, I feel so uncomfortable. And so I went and hid in the cardio cinema. But I was like, if I could just get through one movie on like the elliptical or the bike, then I'll be good. And if I could do this like each day, then I'll keep compiling and eventually I'll get somewhere. So I started doing that, and within the month I was starting to drop pounds because I was exerting calories, I was exerting like things that were stuck in me, and I was actually moving my body, which I had never done because I was just so used to sitting around crying about it, throwing a pity party for myself and making excuses. And so I was like actually getting some momentum. And you know what? Motivation doesn't come, it's momentum that gets you going.
Correct.
Once in motion, then you stay in motion, right? But it's like, maybe a motivation in the very beginning, but motivation isn't what gets you hyped every day. It's the momentum. It's the results.
It's the consistency.
It's the consistency.
Yeah. Consistency is the only thing that breeds results.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's in work, sports, weight loss, whatever it is. It's showing up every day, no matter what, regardless of what you even put forth.
Yep.
Right? And Jake talks about that all the time too, right? But like, just even if you do one little thing, just so you continue that momentum
Yep.
to keep that ball rolling down the hill.
Yep,
Right?
100%.
Because I can relate to that story. I can't remember if I told it before or not, but like I had that same moment where I was in Chicago with my wife and we were flying home. We went to Chicago to see a Louis C.K. concert or comedy show, and we went to Giordano's the night before to have pizza. So my weaknesses are like pizza, Doritos, and fucking ice cream, right?
Yeah.
I still have ice cream once a week with my daughter, but like all the other shit, like I'll eat pizza until it's all gone.
Yeah.
Like pizza to me is like cocaine.
It's so good.
Like you can't leave, like
So
nobody,
good.
like, do you know if cocaine goes bad? Nobody does, because nobody's ever let it sit
Pizza
around that
doesn't
long.
go bad.
Right? Because you have to fucking eat it all. Like you're not gonna like leave any in your fucking drawer.
No.
Right? So like I had a real problem with that, and so we went to Giordano's. I ate way too much pizza, and I remember getting on the plane to go home the next morning, and I was walking down the jetway, and I got into my seat and I sat down, and I was winded.
Oh.
And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, to your point, like, you got to do something.
Like, this
and
is
so
uncomfortable.
I literally, what I did though, is I Googled that Atkins book, which is like the unsafest fucking thing to do. But like, that's what I did.
One extreme. I needed an extreme.
I had to go to another extreme, right? That's my life. And I did Atkins, and they tell you like, do this version of it for the first 2 weeks or whatever it was. And I was like, fuck that. I'll do it for a month and a half. Okay. So here's what happens. Then your insides get all fucked up because all you're eating is bacon and cheese.
Oh my god.
Because they tell you to eat as much bacon and cheese as you want. So like
That's all you can have.
Oh my god. So like now I can't eat cheese, and
That
now
made you sick.
I can't eat red meat because I can't digest any of it, because doing that for too long fucked me up, right?
Yeah.
But I lost the weight,
Yeah.
right? I lost the weight, and so I got
Change your identity.
I got a glimpse of what that was. What was crazy though is that I hadn't changed my identity yet though, because I lost the weight, but I still wasn't comfortable in my own skin. To your point, like I talk about that all the time. I was super uncomfortable in my own skin. I was still uncomfortable to go swimming. I was still uncomfortable to like do any of that, because I was just a skinny fat guy. I worked out every day, but like I couldn't get rid of all the skin. I still had tits, right? I still had a stomach, right? I couldn't get rid of it, and it was gross to me, right? I hated myself, and I ended up making a decision to go have surgery and get that loose skin cut off. And I was always like, in the beginning, I was kind of ashamed and wanted to hide it. And I was like, no, fuck that. That was a reward for me working my fucking ass off,
a reward.
right? To be able to have the thing that I was trying to do, because there's nothing else I can do to be able to get it, right? I cannot tighten up 8 pounds of flesh because I've been this big for so long. And I did that, finally healed. By the way, worst experience of my life, like worst pain ever was having that surgery. But as time went by, what was neat about it was now all of a sudden the work that I was putting in at the gym, and the fact that when I would eat good, I would eat clean, all of a sudden now I could see change. And then that change,
It's been the new identity.
would
shifted.
start to, right? So now I get disgusted at people that don't do that, right? Where that was me. Right? And now I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what the fuck wouldn't you eat healthy? Like, you're going to die. Like, and it doesn't mean that like we don't
But you see it in a different light now,
you see it in a different light.
Felt that, and you don't want them to be feeling it
right.
too.
You want to
like,
shake them.
You do. Like, you're like, you deserve so much better, and I know you're uncomfortable. Like, wake up.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I get it though too, because I look at somebody that was like as overweight as I was, and there's obviously people that are way more extreme than that, but like I can see the fear in that of like, why even start?
Yeah.
You know what I
then
mean?
You have to go through all the process that you had to go through, and there's more pain and
it's
uncomfort.
so long.
And it's long. It's not a quick fix. And so it's like, it would be easier to stay in that state.
Way easier.
But it's deeply painful.
Yeah. Yeah, people can't see the long.
Internal painful.
People can't see the long on it, the long-term game on it. So
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
That's not easy to do.
I'm proud of you.
No,
yeah. I'm so happy that you came by. I'm so happy that we got to sit down. At the end of all of our episodes, what we do here is I always give the floor back to the guest to kind of wrap up and land the plane, because I know that, maybe not this time because you just showed up, but people usually either have like one thing on their mind that they're like, man, I really want to make sure that this gets brought up and I forget, or we dug onto something but we didn't go as deep as you wanted to go. And so I always want to give the floor back to the guest to be able to land that plane however they see fit for the audience.
I love that. My goal for the audience is just to hear that you have pure potential. Like, everyone is built with innate and pure potential. Pure potentiality, you were all born with a gift of light, and to just call that side of you out, to really look at the goodness that's all around you. Practice gratitude. Practice forgiveness, like, as hard as it is. Practice acceptance, and really just get aware on the things that are paining you and work through them, move through them, and that will impact your overall, like, makeup, physical makeup of your body in a positive way. And so to just bring awareness to that, and just start by just the simplest things. It's like, you can elevate your mood almost immediately when you start recognizing all the things you have grateful for. Like, I have eyes to see, ears to hear, legs that hold me and walk me place to place, arms to give hugs, the heart to feel. Like, you have so much, and then we live in this incredibly mind-blowing world around us where we have technology and we can call our loved ones and we travel easily. And I mean, if you just start recognizing the gifts that you have all around you, you will almost instantaneously, it's impossible not to up your mood when you really do recognize that you are gifted and that you have pure potential. And so just practice gratitude, acceptance, and love. You'll operate higher.
Gratitude, forgiveness, and acceptance.
And love. And to change your frequency, one last thing, the difference between operating from a lower frequency and a higher frequency is just having courage. Have courage to take action, and that will literally move you into a higher vibrational state.
Have courage to not fear change.
That's literally the essence of our podcast.
I love that.
Have courage not to fear change.
All right, Lexi, that's the title. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everybody, for listening. There's no way you didn't get something out of that. So please share, like, subscribe, all that bullshit. No sponsors here. I'm poor. So Zen, for all your nicotine needs, I just started checking out coffee. It's not bad. Still a big fan of cinnamon. Also brought to you by, since we have no sponsors, Cult Culture Movement. 2 group calls a month. We've got amazing dudes in this group trying to up level. We've got our underwater mastermind, which I tried to get Sam to fucking come on, couldn't make it, but we've got an underwater mastermind trip we're doing, and I'm really looking to grow and expand that to a larger group of people to be able to help uplift and do all the awesome fucking shit that you're doing as well. So CCM, Cult Culture Movement, reach out if that's something that you're interested in. Zen, just go get some nicotine. It's good for you. Fuck it, it'll change your life. What else? I think that's it. As we end every podcast, remember, everybody, to be authentic. Or get the fuck out.
You can't be authentic. Get the fuck out if you can't be authentic. Get the fuck out if you can't be authentic. Yeah. Swipes.